WN, Chapter 54, Madame Wang. After standing around for some time outside while people slowly entered the Burning Lotus auction house, it was finally Su Yang's turn to head inside. When he approached the door, a beautiful young lady wearing a red cheongsam stopped him and asked, "Excuse me, are you selling or buying today?" "I would like to sell a few elementary grade and profound grade lightning cat monster cores," he replied while patting his pockets. The young lady's eyes widened with astonishment when she saw how he was carrying so many monster cores in his pockets as though they were candies, making her wonder why he'd carry them like that and how many were in his pockets. How many monster cores are you trying to sell today?" she asked him with a stiff smile. "I have 36 of them," replied Su Yang in an indifferent voice. 36 of them? The young lady nearly fell on her butt cheeks when she heard the amount of monster cores he was carrying. How did he manage to obtain so many of them? Despite their over 100 years of business, not even their Burning Lotus auction house has ever sold so many monster cores at once before. "Esteemed guest, please wait a moment," said the young lady in a hurried voice. She then beckoned one of the assistants inside the building to go to her. "Bring this esteemed guest to the guest room and notify Madame Wang of his presence. Tell her that he has 3 dozens of lightning cat monster cores that he'd like us to sell for him." The young lady whispered directly in the assistant's ear, who was also a pretty young lady wearing similar clothing. Since Madame Wang would only meet with guests that have extremely rare and valuable items to sell, or when they have a profound background, the assistant instantly became alert of Su Yang's presence. The assistant glanced at Su Yang's handsome face and blushed. Such a good-looking young man, he must surely be someone with an exalted background. "Please follow me, esteemed guest." The assistant gracefully beckoned him to enter. When the other guests saw how the servants from the Burning Lotus auction house treated Su Yang with such respect, they all intensively looked at him, looking as though they were trying to engrave his face into their memories. After Su Yang entered the building, he was led to a large room with expensive furniture. "Esteemed guest, please wait a moment while I call for Madame Wang," said the assistant before walking away in a fast pace. While the assistant went to call for this Madame Wang, Su Yang retrieved the 36 monster cores from his pockets and laid them on the table made from exquisite wood in front of him, all in an orderly fashion and separated by their grades and quality. Monster cores are graded by the cultivation base of its owner before death. When a beast at the elementary spirit realm dies, it would normally leave behind an elementary grade monster core, whilst a profound spirit realm beast would leave behind a profound grade monster core. However, not all beasts drop monster cores with grades similar to their cultivation base, as there are times they would leave behind monster cores with a lower grade than their actual cultivation base. Monster cores are also graded by its size, so small-sized monster core are considered inferior in quality while the larger ones are of superior quality, such as inferior elementary grade monster cores and superior elementary grade monster cores. There are also higher qualities than superior, but those are usually only available from profound beasts above the heavenly spirit realm. A few minutes after Su Yang finished organizing the monster cores, the door to the room slowly opened, and an extremely beautiful woman wearing a revealing black cheongsam entered the room. Su Yang glanced at the woman who'd just entered. She had short black hair with a small red lotus hair accessory in her hair. Her eyes were sharp and clear, and her naturally seductive figure was undoubtedly alluring enough to halt the steps of any man in the streets that looked at her. When this beautiful woman saw the amount of monster cores laid out on the table, her eyes flickered with an excited light. However, when she noticed Su Yang in his robes, her eyebrows unconsciously raised itself, and a glint of delight flickered in her eyes. To be honest, when I heard that someone wanted to sell lightning cat monster cores at our Burning Lotus auction house, I did not expect that someone to be a mere outer court disciple from the infamous Profound Blossom sect. She sat down in front of Su Yang and said to him in a calm voice. "This many lightning cat monster cores, did you personally slay them, or did you obtain them from another source?" Madame Wang continued to speak as she picked up one of the monster cores to play with it without giving Su Yang any space in her view. Seeing Madame Wang's arrogant demeanor and lack of manners, Su Yang smiled and said, "I like doing business with honest people like you, as it makes the transaction much more straightforward and less complicated. So, what is the share like for doing business in your Burning Lotus auction house?" Madame Wang's eyes widened with surprise when Su Yang outright ignored her questions while asking his own. Who does this brat think he is talking to? Does he even know where he is? Is this how you speak to your seniors? She stared at him with a frown. Don't even bother trying to use your status to take advantage of me, surnamed Wang. Su Yang suddenly leaned forward with a serious expression on his face, his sharp gaze staring directly into Madame Wang's eyes. If you are trying to act your age by looking at me as a mere junior, then I will also act my actual age. Quote. Who are you? How dare you speak to me in such a tone? Do you know who I am? I am a sect elder from the Burning Lotus. When Madame Wang, a cultivator at the peak of the true spirit realm, sensed the overwhelming aura emitted by Su Yang that gave her the feeling that she was in the presence of an experienced senior, her heart skipped a beat. Even if you are the sect master of my sect, if you talk to me in a distasteful tone, I will make you change that tone. Su Yang rudely interrupted her in a calm voice, which sounded more oppressive than being loud. Although Su Yang has the appearance of a young man, he was still mentally older than anybody living in this world. He was an existence who was revered no matter where he traveled. Even if nobody in this world was aware of his exalted existence, he would not allow anyone to disrespect him in such a fashion. Now let's put a halt to this silliness so we can start doing business. How does that sound? He said with a smile.